Housekeeper had no idea she was being filmed. What he captured. Daniel couldn't ignore the warning signs any longer. He installed cameras and secretly watched her in horror. As she used his house for her own personal affairs, 32-year-old Daniel Levinson was an ambitious businessman. He was a workaholic who spent endless hours in his office, refining business ideas for his company. He started a coaching company by himself when he was just 25 years old. He hadn't quite mastered the whole work-life balance thing. He was a bachelor and struggled to keep on top of his housework. So, he decided to hire help, or so he thought. He watched the screen with his job on unhinged. Daniel couldn't believe what she was doing. His heart raced as anger washed over him. When Daniel hired Sarah as his housekeeper, her work was flawless and he loved coming home to a clean house. She often left flowers in the house for him. It was a professional touch that he quickly got used to. Little did he know the flowers were far more than a professional touch, and they served as a sure warning sign of what was to come. Daniel began to notice something strange. It seemed like the more time passed, the less clean the house had become often. It looked like the floor wasn't even vacuumed. What really began to bother Daniel was the strange smell that began to linger. He also noticed that his electricity bill had increased dramatically since she started working for him. He got an idea. Daniel decided the best way to understand when she was up to was to install hidden cameras around this house. After all, he was paying her very generously for her work. He got to his office. He logged into his security camera system so far everything seems to be normal when the workday was done. He logged into the security cameras again and was shocked to see her. Suddenly she began to act completely abnormal. He couldn't believe he let someone like that into his house for that long. As soon as he got home, he emailed her. He sent her the video along with 2 simple words: "You're fired." He decided not to pursue legal action. What did he see? Daniel caught his housekeeper taking off her clothes and throwing them in the washing machine. She walked around the house in her underwear and made her way to his bedroom. Daniel watched in shock as she began to try on his clothes, dancing around his room. Then she sat on his bed and spread his clothes herself. But that wasn't all. After she washed the clothes, she put his clothes in the washer. He wondered if she'd be back or end up stalking him. He kept his security cameras installed, surveillance cameras throughout the apartment, without imagining what he would find in the recordings. She lays on the sofa for a while, does little exercise, read, and at the end she sensually vacuums the rugs. But the discovery that most impacted him was the realization that she was stealing his favorite shirt. This beautiful woman who becomes a worldwide trend with her video that reached more than 500,000 views on YouTube. Daniel shared his story online. He shared his story, part of the footage, and warned people to vet their housekeepers properly. People were in disbelief at the recording and urged him to press charges. If you don't pursue legal action, she could do this to someone else. Many people have jobs that they perform because they need the money and not because they expect anything else return. One woman who works in a hotel received a shocking surprise. One day while she was cleaning a room, this was a surprise that she greatly needed in her life at the moment, and she was truly thankful for, when she discovered in one of the beds, Kyle and Josh are 2 men who have an internet show, where they pranking others in a good way. They secretly placed a camera in the hotel room that they were staying in so they could record the cleaner's surprised face. The men planted something on the bed underneath the sheets that the woman would see as she folded down the blanket. For many people who watched the video of the maid, it's a tear-jerking few minutes. Give Back Films is a channel that Kyle and Josh started a few years ago. They wanted to do something for other people to show that there's still goodness in the world. They enjoy giving money to other people as well as food and other items that can brighten someone's day. The 2 men begin by talking about why they want to help the hotel cleaner and what they plan on doing when they get to the room. They decide to make a mess of the clean bed. When she walks in, the maid thinks that they had quite a party in their room. She doesn't know that there's a rather large tip under the sheets that she'll find when she begins changing the bed. The maid cleaning the room has been staying at the hotel with her family. Had it only recently started working there. She needed the money and saw a sign on the door of the hotel asking for help. The owner of the hotel needed someone to start right away and hired the young girl immediately. Kyle and Josh had heard about the maid's story and saw that she was a hard worker who deserved a break. They talked to the hotel manager about the maid and how she was doing on her job. The laundry room was piled up that the maid went in and started the laundry and even organized everything in the room without being asked. When the maid realized there was a $500 tip for her, she wanted to give it back at first, but Kyle and Josh and her manager told her to keep the money because she deserved it for a job well done.